Last thing my wife ever said to me, and listen, this was 3:27 in the morning, December 12, 2017, Memorial Sloan Kettering, room 814. She squeezed my hand and she said, "Walter, you are the best thing that ever happened to me, Lord." She believed that for 32 years before she said it, and I let her. So you're probably watching this thinking, what kind of man lets his wife die thinking he's a saint when he's not? A man like me. I cheated on Ingrid once, 40 years ago, 41 minutes, and I counted later. I'll tell you about that. And she never found out. And that's the part that's been killing me for 40 years. That's what this video's about. I met Ingrid at a Lutheran church social, Bethelship on 4th Avenue, spring of '57. She had this red hair, Norwegian Lutheran red, and she was talking to my mother in the kitchen, helping with the coffee. I walked in for a glass of water. I forgot what I was there for. I told my mother that night, I said, "Mom, I'm going to marry that girl." My mother said, "Walter, you've spoken 3 words to her." I said, "Yeah, that's enough." We got married in October of '59. I was 22. She was 21. My father was a tugboat captain. I'd been working the engine room since I was 19. She was a nurse at Lutheran Medical, just up the avenue. We bought this apartment in '62, right here, 3rd floor, 2 bedrooms. This kitchen, listen, this kitchen is where we ate breakfast for 66 years. 66. She sat in that chair, right there, every morning, 6 o'clock, coffee, 1 slice of rye bread, a little bit of butter. She'd cut it real thin so she didn't gain weight. I haven't moved that chair in 9 years. I haven't washed her mug. I can't. We had 2 girls, Anna in '61, Karen in '65. Ingrid worked nights at the hospital so she could be home when the girls got out of school. She was the best mother on this block. You ask anybody. She was a good woman. Lutheran good. The kind that says grace before every meal. The kind that brings soup to the neighbor when their husband dies. The kind that believes in real heaven, not the kind you talk about at parties. The actual place where her father went in 1971. For 26 years, I was the husband she deserved. Then in October of 1985, I went to a maritime conference at the Sheraton in Atlantic City. I was 49. I'd been working on the tugs for 30 years. The conference was 3 days. Maritime engineers, union reps, equipment companies. Ingrid packed my suitcase. She put a St. Olaf medal in the side pocket. Lutheran patron of travelers. She always did that. The second night, I was in the hotel bar, alone, drinking a Schlitz. They had Schlitz on tap. I remember every detail, every detail. I've been sitting on it for 40 years. There was a woman tending bar. Her name was, well, I'll tell you her name, Diane. She was 34, divorced. She had a small tattoo of a sailboat on the inside of her wrist. I looked at it 3 times before I said anything. She closed up the bar at 1 in the morning. She asked me if I wanted to come up to her room for 1 more drink. I said yes. It was 41 minutes from the bar to her door to leaving her room. I counted later. 41 minutes for what came after. I came home Sunday afternoon. Ingrid picked me up at the Greyhound terminal in Newark. She drove. She'd packed me a meatloaf sandwich for the drive home in case I was hungry. She kissed me on the cheek. She asked me if I'd been good. I said yes. She believed me. She believed me for 32 years. That was the first day of the 40-year war. People say what they don't know won't hurt them. That advice is for the cheater, not the cheated. Ingrid never knew. Never. But I'll tell you something. The secret didn't stay in a box. It travels. It was in my chest at her 65th birthday party in 2003. It was in my hands when I held our first granddaughter, Carolyn, in January of '91. It was in my throat at our 40th anniversary dinner at the Norwegian Hall when she stood up and gave a toast about the kind of man I was. Lord, it was in the room. It was in the room when she died, December the 12th, 2017, Sloan Kettering, 3:27 in the morning. The IV was dripping. The hallway was quiet, and she squeezed my hand and she told me that I was the best thing that ever happened to her. And I felt like a thief. I was stealing her comfort. Right there in that hospital bed, I didn't deserve to be the one holding her hand. You want to know the truth about cheating? It doesn't end when she forgives you, because she might never know. It doesn't end when she dies, because then the only person who could have absolved you is gone. It ends when you die, and then it just transfers to whoever you told, so you don't tell anybody. You carry it alone. So why am I telling you this on a video? I'll tell you. Somewhere out there watching this, 3 in the morning, or in your car in a parking lot, or in bed next to a wife who's already asleep, there's a guy in his 30s or 40s who did something 6 months ago, and every advice column on the internet is telling him to come clean. And that guy is going to pull the trigger on his marriage and his kids because some 30-year-old therapist on a podcast told him honesty is the only path forward. It is not the only path forward. There is a path forward where you carry it, where you become the man you should have been before you went to that hotel, where you spend the next 30, 40 years being so good to her that you balance the scales, not by telling her, by being the man she already thought you were. That path is harder. That path costs more. That path, listen, that path requires you to live with something inside you that nobody else can see, but it is yours to pay, not hers. You know what they say in AA? You can't forgive a debt you haven't admitted to. I don't know if that's true. I've been trying to forgive a debt for 40 years, that the only person I could admit it to is dead. I cheated on Ingrid one time, 41 minutes. October of '85. I spent the next 32 years, every single day, every birthday, every hospital visit, every time Carolyn graduated something, trying to be the man she thought I was. I didn't always make it, but I never stopped trying. The day she died, she squeezed my hand and told me I was the best thing that ever happened to her. I don't know if I deserved that line. But by then I had earned the right to let her say it. So if you're carrying something tonight, don't unload it onto the people who love you just so you can sleep better. That weight is yours. Pay it. Become the man she thought you were. Be that man for the next 40 years. Make the lie true by living it. I'm 89. I'm gonna die soon. Maybe tonight. Maybe in a year. And I do. Ingrid and me are gonna have the conversation we never had down here. I owe her that conversation. But I don't owe it to you. I'm going to see her now. Greenwood Cemetery, Section 41. I bring her flowers every Sunday. She never knew. That's the only good thing I ever did.